My name is Tom Burns. I'm a 26-year-old gym owner, strongman competitor and all-round strength athlete. I grew up in a small town called Monmouth and played lots of sport as a kid. Until the age of 18, football was my passion. Upon moving to Manchester to study at university, I found a new passion, and that was lifting weights. I learned the old school powerlifting and bodybuilding techniques from veterans of the sport, and I grew from a tall, skinny teenager at roughly 80 kilos up to 100 kilograms in the space of about 2 years. My competitive nature led me to compete in my first strongman competition in 2018. I went to Kent, and in my first competition, I took home first place. Since then, I was hooked. I've done lots of different competitions, and most recently came first place in Good Philly Strongest Man 2019. For the last 12 months, leading up to the nationwide lockdown, my goal has been training for Wales' Strongest Man. So once every year, 20 to 30 strongman competitors battle it out to decide who's the strongest man in Wales on that day. It's long been my dream to compete at that competition and one day take home the title. I gained over 30 kilos in body weight, sacrificed a lot of time with friends, family, and invested a lot into this goal. Unfortunately, 3 weeks before the competition was supposed to be held, the plug was pulled and the country went into national lockdown. It was that same weekend when moving into my new house, I found myself getting out of breath simply walking up and down the stairs. I went into the bathroom and looked at myself in the mirror for what seemed like an hour or two. I came to the realization that I had lost track of myself and what was important in my life. I was unhappy, very unhealthy, and extremely self-centered towards my own goals. I pledged to make a change. Through volunteering and helping vulnerable people during the COVID-19 crisis, I rediscovered my life's purpose, and that is helping others. This is what makes me truly happy. I decided I would no longer dedicate my energy and mental resilience to a self-centered goal. I wanted to do something for others, to showcase my story, to show what can be achieved through mental resilience and mental discipline, so that others may be able to relate to my story and also transform their lives and mental health. When I was 20, I watched a video of an old Bangladeshi man who walked 20 miles every single day with 100 kilograms of flour strapped to his back just to get to the market to earn money for his children to go to school. I must have watched this video 10 times back to back. This was genuinely one of the most incredible feats of strength, both mentally and physically, that I'd ever seen. That same night, whilst lying in bed, thoughts started to gain momentum. What if I could do something similar to inspire others? Before long, it was certain. I didn't know when, I didn't know how, but I was going to walk up Mount Snowdon with 100 kilograms in the form of a barbell and weights on my back. On August the 14th at 3 AM, my team and I will leave Llanberis at the base of Mount Snowdon to begin the ascent of Mount Snowdon with 100 kilograms of weights on my back. In my mind, this challenge has been achieved hundreds of times already, and I've done this through visualization. I've practiced Buddhist visualization and meditation techniques to increase the strength and power of my mind. This helps me open myself up to other people's suffering. By focusing on the breath, I can achieve a Zen-like state when training. This helps to increase my mental resilience and helps me to visualize the ascent up Mount Snowdon. So in my mind, this challenge has been achieved many times already. Meditating on the practice of Tonglen allows me to, during hard training days, switch my internal suffering with those who are in desperate need of help. No amount of pain I ever put my body through will compare to the pain the family experiences who have had to deal with a suicide in the family. A typical day of training would be 4:30 AM, wake up, meditate and visualization practice. 5:30 AM, weighted walk with either 50 kilos or 100 kilos. 7 AM would be an hour of strength training. Midday, I would then focus on hot and cold recovery to ensure I could train later on in the day. 3 PM, I would do my second strength training session of the day for roughly an hour. This would be followed by a cycle or a run at a slow, steady state for an hour at 4 PM. And then I would end the day at 8 PM with 30 minutes of yoga to relax the body, relax the mind, and restore the length of the muscles, ready for training the next day. In order for my body to sustain this level of work capacity, I consume between 5,000 and 8,000 calories a day, and on heavy training days, I've been known to get up to 10,000. However, no amount of mental resilience, training or calories could replace the team around me that have made all this possible. During the weighted walks, 2 people were always needed to safely load and unload the weights during rest periods. My mum and dad were there every single session, sacrificing hours every single week to make this possible, and for that I'll be forever grateful. Ben Burnett, an inspirational ultramarathon runner in himself, was also there to help during hard training sessions. And whenever I thought I'd raised my standards, he would soon humble me by telling me how many hundreds of miles he had run or cycled that very week. Physiotherapists, chiropractors and doctors also helped out a lot in keeping my body healthy. And Jenny Del Reeve, my life coach, was there to help me take care of my mindset. At around the age of 16, I started to develop feelings of fear and anxiety around social situations. This led to me dropping out of classes at school and university, passing up social situations with friends, and missing out on large family gatherings. This led to periods of debilitating depression and suicidal thoughts. I often turned to drugs and alcohol for a short-lived release from these constant negative thoughts in my mind. This exacerbated the problem. These thoughts then gained momentum until one day it all came to a head. I got in my car and drove at speed off a steep wooded drop-off in the hope of feeling a longer lasting release from the constant negative thoughts in my mind. Throughout my battle with my mind, there was always one place I could go. One place I could build my confidence, and that was training in the gym. I then realised that everything I did in my training routine I had to do in every aspect of my life. When I started to do this, my mind started to change. I became stronger and more mentally resilient to life's unavoidable challenges. At the age of 23, I decided to open a gym. I wanted to teach people fundamental habits that they could use in their everyday lives to become the strongest versions of themselves, both physically and mentally. My purpose in life is to help others, and this is what brings me the most amount of happiness to my life. Helping the members at Luda's Gym will always be my passion. And now I want to share my message and story with thousands of other people to also help them with their challenges. Through my deepest depression, the Charity Mind were there for me and gave me something to look forward to in the form of their group sessions. I want to give something back to them and also raise awareness for them. Too many young men and women take their lives far too young. The TED Senior Foundation was set up to offer a service to people at university to help them through their challenges with their mental health. Anyone who knew Ted knows how he managed to lift up everyone around him, and his legacy lives on through the foundation. In order to transform your life, you need a team around you, and these 2 charities can offer people that backbone that many need to turn their lives around. My hope is to raise £5,000 for these 2 charities so they can continue to help more and more people. Now I know this sounds like a large amount, and many of us are not in the greatest financial position at the moment due to the current lockdown situation. However, as a community, if we can all put in something really small, say £5 or £10, then soon the pot starts to build. Together as a community, we can make a massive difference to people's lives and offer the backbone that many need to transform their mental state. This is what this challenge is all about, to show as many people as possible that transformation from the lowest of all lows is possible.